Hello everybody, my name is Hero of Warfare and welcome back to another one of my Siege Defense guides. Today we're covering the Legion of Chaos with the Demon Prince, and this is the last of the Warhammer 3 base game races, and after this we are ready for Immortal Empires. So let's jump right into it, shall we? So with the Legion of Chaos or the Demon Prince, there's something quite unique. When you capture settlements you can devote it to one of the 4 monogods, so either Khorne, Nurgle, Slanesh or Tzeentch. And obviously that means that if you colonize it for Khorne, for example, you will get Khorne units in your garrison. So if you look at Longship Graveyard, for example, or Doomkeep or Bay of Blades, I have dedicated it to Khorne. That means that I will get Khorne units in my garrison. And when it comes to the buildings that you can build to get extra garrison forces, it's kind of weird with the Legion of Chaos, because with the regular defense garrison building, as you can see here, the tier 2 one provides Nurglings, Marauders of Slanesh, so it basically gives you one of each monogod unit, right? But if you upgraded it, you get walls if you are outside of Ogre or Norscan homeland, so obviously you won't get that here in Longship Graveyard, Bay of Blades or any of those. But you don't get any more units, so it's kind of weird, and you only get an extra 50 supplies per turn when under siege, so it's pretty crap if you ask me. But there's actually another building, the one right over here, all the way to the right, the one that gives you extra control. It's relatively cheap, and it gives you, in this particular situation where you have for Khorne, it gives you 2 Chaos Warriors and 1 Bloodletter and 1 Chaos Warhound, and it gives you 1 more Chaos Warriors there, and 1 more Chaos Warrior and 1 Bloodletter extra here. So when it comes to the garrison buildings, or like buildings that provide extra garrison with the Legion of Chaos, I actually recommend just building this one, unless there is a specific settlement that you know is gonna come under a lot of attack. Like over here, for example, I have taken the Tower of Crack. We are Jump Street and we will jump right in your crack. So over here I actually built the control building, which gives me extra garrison, plus I built the extra garrison building itself. So over here we can see that I actually have a pretty large garrison. Actually it doesn't even show them all. I don't know, yeah, I guess it's capped actually. So maybe you don't even have to build this, because you don't get your full value out of it. And with the settlement itself, obviously that gives you some Chaos Warriors, Khorne, some Bloodletters, a Blood Reaper and some Chaos Warhounds. But what about the other ones? Let's see at Slanesh. So it's basically the same thing here, right? Get some Demonettes, some Marauders, some Secret Chariots and some Hellstriders. So again, you just want to build the control building for the extra garrison units. Don't bother with the settlement or rather this building here, the garrison building itself, because it just doesn't give much. And same with Tzeentch, I believe I do have, yeah, over here, the Monolith of Catan.
I sense corruption.
Here you can see you get some Forsaken, some Blue Horse, and from the main settlement you get some Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, and of course the hero. And with Nurgle you get some Plague Bearers, some Nurglings, some Toads and some Rothflies. Believe... yeah, no spawn of Nurgle when you upgrade it to tier 3 over here. And 1 Exalted Plague Bearer of Nurgle if you upgrade your settlement to tier 3. And that was all of them, right? Yeah. So the ones I would recommend going for is either Khorne or Slanesh. Those have the strongest garrisons in my opinion. Tzeentch is third and Nurgle is last. Nurgle is just so crap because of... sure, they have a lot of health, but they're really slow, so you can't maneuver well. They don't do a lot of damage, so you won't really win out, except for if the towers deal enough damage. And the units themselves are very, very weak, so I recommend to stay away from Nurgle, except if you want it as, you know, getting some extra heroes or whatever. But for the garrisons, I recommend Khorne and Slanesh. Those are the most important ones. Another thing to keep in mind is the army abilities that you get from Legion of Chaos. It's kind of unique there as well, because you get a selection from all of the other monogods one. So you can get the Khorne army abilities, the Slanesh ones, the Tzeentch and Nurgle, right? So I guess maybe if you haven't played any of the monogods, you can go and check out one of my other guides where it shows some of the army abilities, but the best ones are usually the tier 3, either with Tzeentch, which is like a huge area of effect, or Khorne level 3, which is also a huge area of effect. Nurgle level 2 is also a great one, because that heals you and also heals like a chain heal. Other than that, they're all kind of meh. So just use them as you want, basically. But the only way you can get it is if you have a lord. So you actually have to recruit a lord. I recommend Herald of Tzeentch with the Lore of Metal. I'm gonna show you in one of the battles how strong they are. Searing Doom is pretty strong for a like level 1 spell, I guess you can call it. So that's the only way you can get that extra buff on the battlefield. So I'm gonna show you some replays right now, so let's jump right into it, shall we? Alright, so when I first started playing as the Demon Prince, I wasn't sure what the best strategies for defense were, so I'm gonna show you a couple of settlement fights that are from the very beginning of the campaign. Of course, keep in mind this is on Legendary, very hard battle difficulty, so everything is maxed out there. You can see how tattered my garrison troops are, and of course this is a full stack from the Empire. But nonetheless, we are gonna give them a hell of a fight. And one thing that I actually kept forgetting when I started playing as the Demon Prince is that since I had just played as all the other monogods, I was like, okay, since I have Khorne units, that means I should build tier 1 towers, but of course they are not actually the same as when you play a Khorne. So the towers for the Legion of Chaos or the Demon Prince here, tier 1 and tier 2, they're just regular arrow towers, they're not that great. Tier 3 and tier 4 on the other hand, they have like the Doom Cannon or whatever it's called, Hell Cannon, yeah that's the one. They shoot Hell Cannon ammunition, which is really strong. It also provides -8 leadership to the enemy when it hits them, and it's an area of effect. Here I built a tier 2 tower just to start shooting them, and I'm gonna upgrade it as soon as I have enough supplies. So with this specific settlement, I usually like to keep this point over here because it's pretty isolated and relatively easy to hold because there's not too many entrances. Also, since they spread out and have no fast units, I knew that I was going to be able to take care of this flank before having to focus on the other ones. But as you can see from the troop count, they have 2k entities and I have 267, so no way in hell that we were ever going to win this, but we can at least make it a Pyrrhic victory for them, or a valiant defeat for us. So here I use my warhounds to just run around and take care of their archers. Since they send their swordmen and spearmen back, I pull out because my warhounds will not win in melee against them. And I'm gonna just fast forward a little bit right now. So I pull them out and keep them close, so I'm always threatening this archer unit. The Chaos Warriors of Khorne are really strong at holding, so in choke points like these, if the enemy doesn't have strong armor piercing, they're not getting through anytime soon. So here I keep my warhounds close enough for them to make me chase me, and then I pull away, taking care of the archers, and you can see the tier 3 tower, how much more damage it does than the tier 2 tower, right? So I mop up these guys, and then I pull back over here because they were sending some swordsmen. I have to hold this point, right? If I lose all points, I immediately lose the battle. So over here I build a tier 2 tower just because I didn't have enough supplies for a tier 3 and I wanted to start pumping out some more damage. So right now I'm just trying desperately to like wipe out enough units so that I can hold this position for as long as possible. I actually route these guys, so I try to run them off, but these units come, so I have to kind of pull away with my warhounds, because in melee they will not win against those swordsmen. So then I run over here with my main force, having to pull back against this force, so it's really just ring around the rosy, trying to do as much damage everywhere at once. I engage here just so they don't capture the point. And at this point I can just see that I'm getting overwhelmed. At this point there's not enough, or there's really not more that I can do, because they just have too many troops and they will be able to just capture the point. But as you can see, we at least did a lot of damage to them. I can actually show you how much we did. Remember, this is early on, like turn, I don't know, turn 10 or something like that. And we did do pretty much like half their army or something. And that is pretty important, because then they won't really go more around your lands. They will just scatter off most of the time. And yeah, this is another valiant defeat actually. This is the starting army of Kostaltin. He starts with a freaking elemental bear, which is really strong. And the Kossars themselves are pretty damn strong, because you know they get both a lot of ammunition with regular archer, and they're also pretty strong in melee. And the stupid what's it called, bound by blood, I believe, the passive effect that makes them unbreakable for 30 seconds when they rout. So Kislev is a pretty pain in the butt to play against on the battlefield. And also I think I made a couple mistakes in this battle, and I'm gonna tell you why I think I made those mistakes. And I'm gonna show you a replay after this one where I don't make those mistakes and we get way better results. So into this battle we go, and like I said, I forgot that the Demon Prince or Legion of Chaos had their own unique towers. So I was like, okay, we're playing as Slanesh. Slanesh tier 1 towers are super strong. So I started building tier 1 towers, but of course they are not the same in Legion of Chaos. So as you can see, I built a tower there and a tower there, but those are regular archer towers which are shite. So here I see that they have spread out their armies a lot, so I do the vulnerable side strategy, I guess you can call it. Send out my fast units over here to take care of this flank. Yes, the demonettes are going to take some damage, but there's nothing we can do about that. They are going to win in melee, so yeah, just send them all in. And I position the rest of my guys over here, because I felt like this was the most like dangerous side. I also try to hold this position right here, because I feel like this is the strongest defensive position on this particular map, because you can hold it pretty well thanks to these two barriers, and you get a tower there and a tower there, both of which have great like range of fire. You can shoot a lot of different angles, which is great. So I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit, because this battle might not be too exciting. And the great thing about these entrances is that they're really narrow, so against especially archer enemies, they won't get to like set up and fire properly. So just try to attack them in these narrow corridors, because they will blow up like this. Especially if you have like a Herald of Tzeentch with Searing Doom, boom, like I'm gonna show you in the next battle. It's really strong. So here I kind of surround them and just go all in, which works pretty great. But of course, here comes Kostaltin and the rest of their force, and I am taking a lot of damage just in general from the archer fires and stuff like that. So one of the mistakes I do make is I do not build the proper towers. This gets destroyed because they capture the point. Here I built some barricades. Honestly, I don't know why I did that. I don't know, maybe it was the whole elemental bear out. But yeah, I should have just focused on getting tier 3 towers because they are so much stronger. But that's the mistake I made. Here you can see the elemental bear, one breath attack doing tons of damage. Getting 100 kills pretty damn easily. I send my Slanesh spear units over here to try and take it down. But, you know, armor with 25% physical resistance. And yeah, the elemental bear is quite strong. So from those mistakes, pretty much just building the wrong towers and not focusing my troops properly, I feel like that's probably what made me lose this battle. It's not 100% sure if I could have won it if I had built the tier 3 towers, because I was really outpowered to begin with, but at least I would have had a stronger chance. So that's what I'm gonna show you in the next battle, which is this one. DP stands for Demon Prince, in case anyone was wondering about that. So here we have a proper size. You can see Battle of the Tower of Crack, which was where I built both the control with the extra garrison and the regular garrison building. So we have, yeah, we do get everything actually. So you can see we have bloodletters, I almost said demonettes there. Regular chaos warriors, so like this one is from the garrison building itself. Then you get nurglings, marauders, and blue horrors. And these get upgraded from when you upgrade to the tier 3 settlement, garrison building, but the chaos warriors does not, so it's kind of weird, but whatever. So this is Costal Tin on his warbear with some Streltsy, some winged lancers, I think they're called, and some warsleds, and they're getting some reinforcements as well. So this time I'm not being stupid, because I have at this point I have played, I don't know, like 50 turns or something into the campaign. I've had a few siege defenses and I kind of figure out the strategy, you know. So at this point I like lure them into the funnel, you know, into the tight corridor. I'm ready on both sides, just going to collapse on them. They won't stand a chance, they won't utilize their ammunition at all, so it's perfect for me. And over here, I guess I could have pulled the rest of my army over here, but then I would have spread my guys too thin, I felt like. So I'm just holding these two positions right here. And I'm waiting for, yep, there you go, 1400 supplies to build the tier 3. And I can just fast forward a little bit. So you see right now the balance of power is pretty even, but when his reinforcements come in, it's gonna go way in his favor. So yeah, I wait a little bit until they have kind of blobbed up over here, and then I send all my guys in. They're not really able to shoot at all. There you can see their reinforcements coming in, skewing the balance of power like 70-30. But it's okay, because I'm gonna take out one of their sides pretty easily. So at this point right here, you have two choices really, right? Because Chaos Warriors of Khorne are really heavily armored, and they have the Silver Shield, which blocks 55% of small missile fire. I just keep them here instead of engaging, which... Was it worth it? Should I have sent them out? It's kind of hard to tell, you know, because if I pull them out, they will get just surrounded, and maybe I would have lost all 4 of these guys. It's hard to tell, right? So at this point, I just let them stand there and take the fire. If it were regular Kossars, then it wouldn't have been a big deal, but Streltsy have armor piercing, so they will chew through the armor. But I felt like it was worth it, because I was winning really hard over here, and they were sending more units through here, so I will just keep picking them apart piece by piece. So a little bit later on, and I'm building a tier 3 tower here too. And I'm gonna build some barricades here so that their really option is just to come through this corridor right here. Okay, don't build a barricade, I build the... it doesn't show which one it is. I think it's the one that gives leadership and melee defense. Let me see if it shows. Yeah, melee attack actually. Okay. I think Korn is the only one that gives melee attack from this. Every other one gives melee defense. So here you can see they send in their winged lancers, stupid as they are, and you can see take cover is from the like hell cannon shots, -8 leaderships, which is great. The Blood Reaper really strong against heroes and lords, so I recommend using him against that, but don't let him like do it solo. Try to keep some infantry to help him so he doesn't get soloed out. Here comes Crystaltian on his little warbear, thinking he's a big deal, but no, I've got a horde to take care of you, my friend. As you can see, they are pushing through here, and I have to like pull back my guys that got pretty much wrecked by the Streltsy. My tower is also ripping them a new one. So I see, okay, they're pushing through, I have to take some of my guys and defend this point, because if I lose that, it's game over, my friend. So I send some of my guys over to take care of that, while we finish off Kostaltin and Alexei Tsaryov. And at this point, it's pretty much just let the towers do their work while we hold. Also, I used my Chaos Warhounds. They were out here finishing up some of those guys, the Streltsy that we killed in the beginning, and I pulled them around here. Then they recapture points, giving me more supplies so that we can build more towers and stuff. So it's pretty important to keep your fast units alive for this purpose. This particular map isn't that big, so the strategy that I use some other times, where if I see that shit hits the fan, then I usually abandon the initial defensive position and build towers elsewhere. That doesn't really work on this map because it's so small. I can go from this point to that point pretty fast. So just trying to hold this point for my life. Killing Kostaltin over here, upgrading this to tier 4. I'm gonna show you the stat difference. It's not super amazing, but it's better. So tier 3 gives 280 missile damage base, 400 armor piercing, 30 armor piercing explosive, and 19 missile damage explosive armor piercing. Alright, the 30 is not armor piercing. Okay, never mind. So 430 compared to the, is it 300? I have a goldfish memory. Crap, another cancel. Never mind. Yeah, it's better, as you can see then. I think it was the base and the armor piercing that got increased, and the explosive and the explosive AP remained the same, right? Anyways, it's worth it if you can get it in a situation like this. And in a minute now, I think they are going to get the army loss penalties. As you can see, they have killed all of their lords, most of their heroes, most of their army. There we go. There's the army loss penalties. That means 30 more seconds for them to run around playing chicken, but victory is ours. There you can see. So recommend building the tier 3 towers and holding this position on this particular map and using the choke points. They are really good. I'm gonna show you another one, the same map actually, but it's against Wood Elves. I don't know how it's gonna be with Immortal Empires when playing as Legion of Chaos, because you get a different starting position, But on Realms of Chaos map, you get swamped by enemies really early on, so I think this Siege Defense Guide will help you a lot if you play on Realms of Chaos, but I think most people are going to stick to Immortal Empires when it comes out. That's just my my thoughts on that. But here you can see we're getting attacked by, I think, it was a full stack from the Wood Elves, but thanks to the Slanesh ability we can steal one of their Glade Guard, which is great. And like I said, I recruited a Lord just so that I can get the army abilities, and I got to recruit a couple of Chaos Furies before they attacked. And they are very helpful actually. When it comes to the Demon Prince or Legion of Chaos, you can actually buff the Chaos Furies an absurd amount just by like passively getting favor or is it called favor? Like allegiance or whatever the currency is called. Souls? I don't remember. You know, the ones, the research you get whenever you devote captives or get the settlement. But that's besides the point. So I'm doing pretty much the same strategy here. I see that they come in from this angle and this angle. So this time I have Slanesh army, not Khorne. So I'm doing a little bit different, but still a lot of the same. So I let them come in through here, use my Lord to cast Searing Doom perfectly here, if I may say so myself, and then I send in these guys over here while my Chaos Furies hit them from behind. This War Dancer unit is getting wrecked by their own Glade Guard. Oh, it's so lovely to just steal some of their units. I hate when it happens to me, but I love using it myself. And then I just kill them just like that. Building the tier 3 tower here, and that's gonna help me a lot when it actually shoots where I want it to. And some War Dancers coming to get wrecked by my Demonettes. And of course the Lurus. I think the Tzeentchian hero or lord is the best spellcaster, but having the Slanesh one is also pretty useful. So we wrap up over on this side. Of course the Wood Elves, they have really strong units in Glade Guard and War Dancers and Deep Scouts, Way Watchers. Can't remember all the names. Remember, I can't see these when I play the fight because they have Stalk and Firewalls moving. I thought they had Snipe too actually. I guess that's something they get later. But yeah, I can't see them unless they shoot, so fortunately for me they used a lot of ammunition on their own Glade Guard, which I had. And then they, very fortunately for me, come and attack me like in this blob here. So Searing Doom is gonna be great, but I still take a lot of damage from them over the wall here. So at this point I use my force, like split force a little bit to chase down their Glade Guard, because the Glade Guard is pretty shite in melee. As you can see here, even my very wounded Demonettes can still take out this Glade Guard unit. And of course my Fury is really good against catching units, so here you can see I use Narcissism, which is one of the Slanesh abilities, like army abilities you can get. With the Demon Prince, it's a tier 1, so I get it just from dealing damage with my Lord, and that's gonna be very easy to do with Searing Doom in clumps like this. So I get a lot of those army abilities throughout this fight. It doesn't really show on a replay, but it's great. It's really, really great. So here you can see built a tier 3, both positions. And then just fast forward a little bit. Here you can see they have used up most of their ammunition on these units, but they still have one Way Watcher there and one over here, which I try to catch, but they're so goddamn fast. their speed, or this is default scouts actually. They have 38 speed, so it's really hard to catch them. And Way Watchers have 40 speed, so even harder to catch them. But fortunately for me, I do catch them, and I'm able to take them out. I'm also able to take back this key building right here, which gives extra leadership, and of course the melee defense. But the leadership is really key in these siege defenses, trying to hold for as long as possible when fighting and letting the towers just obliterate them. So I still have some of my demonettes here, and my marauders are trying to chase these default scouts. Since I captured this point, I had a lot of supplies, so I actually built a tier 4 here. Wait, now we can actually compare. So tier 3, let me just, okay, 280 and 400. 430 and 450. Okay, so it's significantly higher actually. So it's definitely worth it to upgrade if you have the supplies and you know that you won't lose the supply point. But at this point I can see, okay, I think I got this. It's pretty close, but if my towers can just deal enough damage, I got this in the bag. So send my allures over here and use the Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma to slow down and deal some damage on these guys. And at this point all they really have that is danger is these Way Watchers. But thanks to my tier 4 tower and a Mystifying Miasma maybe? No? They're going down pretty fast. And as soon as I kill the Lord, they're gonna get the morale break. So you can see, kill him, there, or just shatter him, really. There you go. That was a pretty damn good siege defense, if I may say so myself. And this was also very early on. I don't know, like turn 12, 13, something like that. So defending this meant taking out their only army, being able to hold this settlement and not having to send my army to deal with them, my main army. So it was actually really great to be able to defend this. And we have another one, which is against Norska, and here you can see we have a really small garrison. This is a siege garrison, as you can see. Blue Horse, they deal a lot of damage with the 4 ammunition they have, but they have short range, low damage against armor, and they suck in melee. But they have large entity numbers, and you know, they can bug down an enemy for a little while. So with that knowledge and that information, use them wisely. And of course the Forsaken, they are decent in melee, they can hold for a little while and deal out some damage, but they're not amazing at any role really. So here I can see, okay, they have most of the units over here, and a few of their units, including their most dangerous unit, their Lord, over here. And since this point is the easiest to defend in most situations on this map, I feel like, okay, I'm just gonna hold here and they are gonna have to walk all the way over here. So I built a barricade just to build or buy some more time for myself, so I can build the towers, of course, tier 3, and just use my blue horrors to deal as much damage as possible really. So I set them up on the barricade to give them some extra range, and I see, okay, they're taking it down pretty fast, so you get back, Forsaken, you come forward, and their Marauder Berserkers are just gonna get pummeled from all my blue horrors and my Lord's Searing Doom. So you can see in a second, you can see how fast I actually die. Look at this. So yeah, the blue horrors combined with my Searing Doom spell, really good. Even the Forsaken are getting a lot of kills actually. And they're holding for all their worth. But yeah, the blue horse, they lose, or they use up all their ammunition really quickly, and then, you know, send them into melee to hold the position. Getting the tower built, really important. I start building a tier 1 tower just to have an extra damage dealer. One thing to consider is that if you do build a tower and then upgrading it, that costs you extra supplies compared to if you build it from scratch. But a lot of the time it's worth it, because having some extra damage can be really useful, like in the meantime. And as you can see here, we are able to mop up this side pretty effectively. So at this point they have ran some units around here, and they're taking some points as expected, which is what the AI usually does before they try to come for your main force. So here I just send in my lord. They will clump up around him, and then that's a perfect opportunity for a Searing Doom spell. And then pull him out and send the rest in. Very easy to take out marauders like that. And my Forsaken even came back. They are very, very brave. Very brave. You guys should actually deserve an upgrade. And yeah, never mind. Never mind. They are fleeing like the cowards they are. And as you can see, I upgraded this to tier 3, and these two towers are very well positioned to shoot both up here and down here, which is what makes this a really good defensive position. This tower is decent because it can shoot in all this area right here, plus in this area, but this tower is kind of crap. It won't really shoot back here, unless maybe in this area. It won't really shoot here at all. And of course it will shoot here, but not here, which is where you want to shoot, really. So this is a really bad position for the tower. So never really build the tower there. Here the hero, the lord comes in, and fortunately for me I have enough units to just bog him down and take him down, and the tower's of course helping. One thing about the barricades that are really useful is the enemy will of course clump up when trying to take it down. That means a perfect opportunity for Searing Doom, which I guess you guys missed him a second ago. And then they were almost destroying the regular platform, but then I just converted it into the 500 supply one, so they have to like destroy it twice over, which is a neat little trick. There you can see heroic victory. And those are all the replays I had to show you for the Demon Prince, but what's to take away from this? Okay, so first of all, the best garrison troops is Khorne for the extra defensive playstyle, and also they're very strong with the bloodletters, so they have like a Swiss Army knife kind of operation going on. And then you can hold with Khorne units for a long time, letting the tier 3 or tier 4 towers do all the work. The other one is Slanesh, which is really strong because there's a lot of armor piercing there, and they're also very fast, so you can chase down a lot of archer armies, so against Kislev or Wood Elves or Empire, stuff like that. Slanesh will do really well. And even Tzeentch can be really strong against smaller forces, or if they don't have a lot of armor. So Tzeentch garrisons are very situational, I feel like. They can be very strong, especially the hero that you get with the Searing Doom can do a lot of damage, but if you don't have enough holding power, then it's kind of a mute point. So it's like, I don't know, a 6 out of 10. And Nurgle, just stay away from Nurgle. Nurgle is so shite at defending that it's not even funny. Which is kind of ironic, because Nurgle is supposed to be like the tankiest and, in theory at least, the best at defending, right? But that's not the case. And stay away from tier 1 and tier 2 towers, unless you build them as a necessity, or like I did here, just to have something while I upgrade to tier 3. So tier 3 and tier 4, that's where you get your money's worth. And with the buildings, like I showed you in the beginning, go for the one that gives control and garrison, which is way more cost effective and just better overall than the garrison building itself. So with that, we wrap off this until Immortal Empires comes out, which is only a week away now. and I'm gonna do some let's plays when that comes out, and of course I'm gonna do more in this siege defense guide. I hope you guys enjoy, and don't forget to comment, subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Goodbye.